Hello and welcome back to the Lincoln Loco 2. Hello, welcome back. For you it's not been that long, but for me it's been over 2 weeks since I last recorded an episode. And I've been missing it. I've really missed it, so I can't wait to get back into it. So if you weren't aware, the past 2 weeks, videos have been up still, but I've been away on holiday, so I've not made a Football Manager video for 2 weeks or so. We did say we'd get back to videos yesterday on Tuesday, but then just getting back from holiday, jet lag, and then being at work and trying to catch up on things, it's not come true. So today is Wednesday. We're going to get a video out for you today, obviously, because you're watching it on a Wednesday, hopefully. And then we'll have a video out on Tuesday and Friday. Hopefully that should wrap up this season of our first season in the Vanarama National League North. So hopefully it should be quite good. So let's jump straight into it. I've played quite a few games since I was away on holiday, and for the most part, it's been pretty good, I've got to say, but it's just not really been reflected that well in the table. So I guess then we'll just jump into it and try and go through it pretty quickly. We've played a lot of cup games in between last episodes. So last episode, you were here all the way back here for the Geyser game and the Brackley game. As you can see, in between episodes on my holiday, I've played quite a lot of games. I said I was going to try and space out through my holiday and play it through slowly. No, this all happened in one sitting. I just played all this in one go. So the first game we played since you were last here was Rushden and Diamonds in the FA Trophy, which is like the non-league FA Cup. Avis Ganu scored in the 8th minute. We won it 1-0, so we're into the first round proper, which was fantastic stuff. In the league, though, we lost 3-0 to Alfreton, which wasn't great. Wasn't a great way to start off in between episodes, but we did manage to beat Kingsland Town 1-0. Joe Howell scoring the goal there. Kingsland are down in the relegation zone, or just above the relegation zone, so it was a game that we needed to win, and we did win it, which was really good. We then had Nuneaton in the FA Trophy first round. Now, we played them not long ago, drew 1-1. We drew 1-1 once again in the first round. They didn't want to do extra time. They wanted to go to a replay. So we went to a replay with them and beat them 3-1 at their place to go into the second round, which was really, really good. I was pleased with that, to be fair. We then played Solihull Moors in a dramatic 4-4 draw where we were winning it until the 95th minute when they equalised, which was really frustrating. Andy Dolby, by the way, scoring all 4 goals for them, which was a bit annoying. George Danaher and Joe Howell both getting braces in that for us. So George Danaher, since joining the club a few episodes ago, has done really well. He's a top goal scorer for the club now, which sort of says something considering he joined very recently. So that kind of shows that my striking... The strikers that I've signed recently haven't been very good at all. So George Danaher, hopefully going to be at the turning point for all that. After that 4-4 goal fest, we went for a 0-0 draw with Kidderminster Harriers. So did quite the opposite, but at least we managed to pick up a clean sheet and another point against Kidderminster, who I think at the time were round about the top of the table, which is quite good as well. We then disappointed ourselves by losing to Chorley 1-0. They're quite far... Oh, no, they might be in the playoffs. I can't remember now. They could be in the playoffs, but they could be in the relegation zone. Either way, we lost it 1-0. And, it was a game that I really think we should have got something from. At least a point in that game, which was annoying. Since then, though, it's been pretty positive. Spennymoor Town, we beat them 2-0 at home. George Danaher and Jamie Bird with the goals. We then played Eastleigh from the league above us. Now, Eastleigh are in the league above us, the National League, but they are bottom of the table by quite some distance. So we thought we might have a chance in this game. And we did have a chance by winning it 2-1. We went 2-0 up before half-time before they came back into it a bit in the second half. Mick McCabe sent off for a second yellow card in the 94th minute, which is very frustrating. But we managed to win it either way. So we're into the third round of the FA Trophy now, which is the furthest that we've got. So I'm really excited for that. That is coming up in today's episode. After that, we then lost to Basford United 2-1. I think they're second in the table at the moment, so that's kind of understandable. But it was a really good performance from the boys. Danaher with the goal. And we showed some good character, I think, to get a decent-ish scoreline in that game. We didn't get hammered, so I was quite happy with that. And then last time out, St Neots Town at home, a 1-0 win, courtesy, if it wants to show us, of a Joe Howell goal in the 83rd minute. So that was a vital 3 points, that one. I was really happy with it. And overall, I think in between episodes, it's been largely positive. I think we've done really, really well. But if we look at the table, we still find ourselves in 16th, in the lower half of the table. We are a good 11 points away from the relegation zone, so we don't have to worry about that too much. And we're only 9 points off Blyth, who we play today as well, in the playoffs. So really it's quite close. A win today is a game in hand, actually. Seem to have a game in hand over a few teams, or most teams. So if we win this one today against Blyth, it could put us up to 12th, which actually is quite, that looks quite good, to be fair. So it's still not down and out this season. We can still mount a bit of a playoff challenge if we really start to win pretty much every game for the rest of the season now, because there's not that long left with 27 games played. There's 42 games to play, I think, in the whole season. So it's not bad. Anyway, I'm fully aware that was a lot of fixtures to go through, and you probably haven't grasped it all. So we'll talk about things a little bit into today's games. But for this first game against Blyth Spartans in the league, we're going to go for the usual formation. A few players have had a bit of injuries. A few players have sort of fallen out of favour as well. So the lineup to start off with is Calderwood in goal. with a backline of Canwell, Guru, Gray and Anakin. Dion Sanderson has just come back from an injury, is fit enough to play 75 minutes today apparently, but I'd rather just bring him on as a sub later on, I think, and that's the safest thing to do. McCabe starts in that central defensive midfield position. We've also managed to lose, if we have a look quickly, what was he called? This is quite bad that I've completely forgotten his name. It's been a week or so since I played. Adam Hughes to Aldershot. He was our star CDM last season, but has been replaced this season. And then out of nowhere, Aldershot offered him a contract, and he joined Aldershot, and now has been released from Aldershot and joined Staines instead. So that's his third club this season, but didn't play for Aldershot, so that's why he can play for Staines. Masters has fallen out of favour recently because Joseph Hall, turns out he's just been training really hard. He's now 4-star current ability and just about the best player at the club. He's a bit tired for today's game, and I kind of want to rest him for the FA Trophy game we've got after this. So I kind of want to rest him and Dion Sanderson for that. So Masters comes in today alongside Howe, but we will start Hall in the next game. Cameron Stewart starts on my left today just because none of our wingers have been that effective, I think, recently. We've been scoring a few goals, but mostly through Danaher and Howell, I've got to say. Jamie Bird stays on the right as well. He's been quite good on the right, but the left side, we've been, I don't know, Ganiyu's been a bit hit and miss. Stewart's been a bit hit and miss. So we're trying to just rotate things a little bit. And then, of course, George Danaher with 7 goals this season is our top goal scorer, which is a little bit embarrassing for this late. Oh, this part, what are you? We're like 2/3 of the way through a season, maybe. So to only have 7 goals as our leading goal scorer, that is a bit embarrassing, isn't it? Either way, kickoff is upon us on this square pitch at Blyth. Let's zoom in a bit so we can try and get a bit of a better view on today's game. Hopefully we'll get the win. Like Blyth then are sitting, they've scored. Okay. Well, I didn't see their goal. I was looking at the table to tell you that Blyth are now 6th in the table after they scored less than 30 seconds into today's game. We need to switch on, boys. Come on. A win today would only take us 6 points behind Blyth in the playoffs, which is pretty decent, to be fair, for a team of our stature and a team that's only just been promoted to this division. I'm quite happy with that. I've said a few times this season that I thought we'd be fighting a relegation battle all season, and yet we're not. We're relatively comfortably mid-table, I've got to say. Saying that, Blyth are coming forward once again on the ball, which, I mean, we go all the way to Blyth to then just not turn up at all. What's the point? As they've just cut... I mean, that was playground stuff, really, wasn't it? That was playground stuff. How are we not defending well? It's frustrating this as well, because we've been playing quite well in between episodes. When I was playing last time, I was thinking, like, how good we've been. Things are now getting worse as George Danaher picks up an injury. He may have to come off. They've also only had 2 shots, Blyth, and scored both of them, which, again, another very frustrating stat coming out of today's game so far. Apparently, we should be able to nurse Danaher through the rest of the game, it's saying. I think we'll give him till half-time to see what the situation is. We will take him off at some point as we bring a corner in, and is it a penalty? No, it's not a penalty. McCabe just collects the ball, plays it out to Stewart, who can try and do something clever with it. Plays it to Canwell. I suppose that is the cleverest thing he could do. Guru loses it though, and Hansen on his hat trick already sets his mate up instead, and it's this is not what I wanted. This is not the return to the Lincoln Loco that I was expecting. I mean, Blyth are coming forward again, which actually don't score. They haven't scored a fourth rather. Masters plays, get rid of it. Calderwood does get rid of it. Up to Danaher, who wins the ball actually quite well. Fair play, Danaher. That's the striker we love. He's injured and yet is still taking on 3 defenders, shoots from outside the area and scores the goal. Well, this is going to be the comeback now. I've decided. Danaher has started a comeback and I've decided that our players are going to do it as well. I mean, not that I have really much power over them, but they're going to do it now as Howell puts it into Masters on the edge of the area, who shoots, puts it just wide. I don't quite know what he did with the ball there, to be fair. I'm not quite sure how he got it wide from that position, but, it was a highlight. So not quite the first half we wanted. The first 15 minutes or so, we just didn't turn up at all. Did not turn up at all. I don't think we deserved to concede those goals, but we weren't switched on enough, were we? So I suppose we did deserve to concede them. It's 3-1 to Blyth at half-time. My assistant manager, he can bollock them if he wants to. And we're going to start the second half, and we'll make some changes pretty early on, I think. We'll bring Sanderson on, we'll bring Hall on, and then we'll have to bring on another striker for Danaher because... Although saying that, his condition isn't that bad. I mean, McCabe's more tired than he is, but Danaher's got a slight knock. I think we'll make the defensive changes and the midfield changes right now. So Sanderson will come on for Guru because he's played rubbish, apparently. And then we'll also take Masters off and we'll bring Joseph Hall on for him. He can't really play as a ball-winning midfielder, so we're going to bring him up to be a more attacking central midfielder. That's maybe the best thing to do, maybe. Or they can just score a goal, maybe. That works for me as well, I guess. Oh yeah, and another one as well. I mean, that's fine. Fine. 5 is fine. I don't care now. Oh, do we have a chance now, late on, to try and get ourselves back in it? Hall picks up the ball. That's his first appearance I've seen from the highlights so far. Gray puts a crossing, which goes straight to their player. And here we go. Here's number 6. It's not quite number 6, but it should have been, really, shouldn't it? So I decided that our players were going to turn it around. I must have sent subliminal messages to the Blyth players instead. That's probably what happened. I must have been sending it to the left-hand side of the screen rather than the right-hand side of the screen, maybe. Okay, so George Danaher has just scored a goal. I'm just past talking for this game. I'm going to show you the replay. If you want to play it, okay. I swear to God, he's offside in this. Well, look at this, right? Hall, right? Where's Danaher? He's there, number 9. Watch number 9 come across here. I swear he's not offside. Number 3 was playing. I take it back. Number 3 was playing him onside. It's just that, it's 2 more goals for Danaher, to be fair, which is very good for us because it means that we are having we've got a player who will score goals for us. It's just a shame that our defence today. Calderwood has conceded 5 and yet is on a 7.1 rating, which does sort of suggest to me how badly our defence has played today. Really, how is Calderwood on a? It reminds me of the one time when Lincoln City played Grimsby. We were playing away from home, playing at Grimsby. I think we lost like 3-0. I was there. But Paul Farman, our goalkeeper, got man of the match despite us losing 3-0. He's man of the match above the Grimsby players. So sometimes goalkeepers can have absolutely brilliant games despite conceding 3 or 5 goals. I think we can take some positives from this because Danaher scored 2. But we can also take a lot of negatives, an awful lot of negatives from that game. I've also told my assistant to do the team talk, and that's gone very negatively as well. So hopefully we've got Halifax coming up next in the FA Trophy. Obviously that's going to be a tough game, but it might just, inspire us. Although we've now lost Danaher for 8 to 10 days due to a pulled thigh, apparently. So that's not great. So he's going to miss the game against Halifax. So probably another loss coming up, I'm afraid. So Halifax then they're sitting pretty mid-table actually in the league above us, the Vanarama National League. So potentially we could cause an upset. Eastleigh are still sitting down at the bottom of their table. That's the team we beat to get to play Halifax. We could cause a bit of an upset, to be fair. I don't know how strong Halifax are going to play, their team and lineup and things like that. I mean, they're heavy favourites, as you can see, 4-6 compared to our 7-2, which isn't actually that bad. Although I can't say I know much about odds at all. I don't think it's that bad, at least. It all depends on how strong Halifax's team is, I've got to say. It depends who they start. So hopefully they've had some games and they've had some tired players and maybe a few injuries, and perhaps we could cause an upset. The FA Trophy is a great way to get to Wembley, and I'd love to see us try and get quite far in it. I mean, the third round that we're in at the moment is pretty far into it, I've got to say. I think we get to the 4th round. I don't know if it goes from the 4th round to the quarterfinals, or it just goes from the 4th round straight to the semi-finals, like the FA Cup does. It has the 6th round and the semi-finals rather than the quarterfinals, and then essentially is what it is. At the same time as us playing Halifax, other league games are going on as well. So we'll have another game in hand on some teams, which will be quite interesting. Hopefully teams around us will lose and then we win our game in hand. That'll be great. We have to make a few changes. So Dion Sanderson's going to come in for Guru, who didn't play very well last game, but Gray isn't... Let's take Gray off instead. Let's take a risk. Gray's going to come off instead. We'll leave Guru on the pitch. Hall's going to come on for Masters as well. We're going to bring him on to be more of a central midfielder on support, I think. We'll do that for this game. I've just noticed as well, like, we brought him on a substitute last game and his central midfielder was a full green attack, but now it's gone down to, like, I don't know, 5/6. I'm not quite sure how that happens or why it happens like that, but it's happened. It's been 3 days since that game. How has he suddenly got worse in that position that quickly or something like that? I don't know, but we're going to bring him on as a central midfielder in support. Max Brown is going to come on as a striker for Danaher instead. We'll leave him as that pressing forward. Javan Splat is going to come on the bench. I have completely forgotten as well. We signed a new player. I signed him right at the end of when I was playing a holiday, but I've not played for a week, so I've completely forgotten about it. We signed Danny Rose. Now, if you're a very keen fan of the TomFM channel, you know that he is the first signing that we made for Lincoln City on the Lincoln Loco last season, FM 18. But obviously, it's his 5 years in the future now compared to then, and he's actually quite rubbish now. But he's coming as sort of backup in midfield, to be fair. I completely forgot. Completely forgot about him. So we'll have to get him on the pitch at some point. He won't start today. You'll see him next episode. We'll leave him there for now. But bloody hell, we signed a player. There he is. I meant to tell you about him, but I didn't. Let's brush over that fact. Other than that, let's get into today's game against Halifax. I think we could cause an upset today. If we play like we did against Blyth, no chance. But if we play like we did against Eastleigh in the previous round, and Halifax don't put out their full strength lineup, although by looking at the strike force of Kyle Pike and Dale Southwell, they probably have put out their full strength lineup. This might be a tough game. Anyway, kickoff is upon us here in Halifax at whatever their stadium's called. I can't remember what it's called, but it's quite... Is it the Shay? The Shay, that's what it's called. It's quite a cool stadium, I think, for a non-league ground. It's quite a big one as well. I think they've got a lot of terracing or something like that. So it's an interesting ground, at least. A piece of history, I think. We're trying to get forward early on as Brown can't quite get on the end of the ball put forward there. And Kyle Pike looks to win the ball for Halifax, which he does as they play it around the midfield. The ball is in behind our defence. Patrick just about keeps it in. Kyle Pike heads it just past the post, and Halifax already sending us a warning sign. Less than 10 minutes into the game, and I thought we were about to come forward with the ball then, but Halifax have indeed tackled us and are coming forward once again. Their ball forward was... Anakin just had to carefully collect it. Instead, he just nods it down to Patrick, who crosses it into Kyle Pike for his 16th goal of the season. And Halifax deservedly go 1-0 up in this game. Since they've scored, though, looking at the stats, actually, we've decided to come on top, to be fair. If we can carry on this kind of domination of the stats, our 6 shots, our 58% possession, perhaps we could get back into this game later on. Obviously, the devastating blow of not having Danaher on the pitch for us is going to make it a lot tougher, but Max Brown has been known to score goals. Not many of them, but he has been known to score goals. The same with Javan Splat. Not many, but has scored goals in the past. We may bring Ganiu on later on in the second half as well. He could be a game changer out there for us if Cameron Stewart decides not to do much. The rest of his first half, though, has been awfully quiet in terms of highlights. But look at the stats. We are miles ahead in the stats. And if we can grab a goal just before half-time, that would be wonderful, as Howell comes forward into Max Brown, who shoots and gets tackled again, I think, and now they've cleared from the back. Kyle Pike can't, or he does win the ball, and Dale Southwell collects the ball. And if Halifax scored before half-time, I think that's really going against the run of play, at least from the stats, that's what I can tell. Their goalkeeper's on the ball now. If he can launch it forward, he does. Do we win it? No, we lose it. Kyle Pike's put forward, and will he score? No, Calderwood makes a decent save. I think we need to be trying to make better use of our chances, I think from what I've seen in that highlight, we just seem to dither on the ball quite a lot, and Halifax score on their second of the game. And that's just the little gap in quality, isn't it? That's the gap in quality between our division and Halifax's division. So I anticipate the substitutes in this second half to be pretty swift, I've got to say. Brown and Stewart haven't played particularly well in this opening first half. In fact, I should have changed it at half-time, really, but we're going to take Brown off. We're going to bring Javan Splat on for him, but instead of a pressing forward, he can be a poacher on attack. We're also going to bring Ganiu back on for Cameron Stewart as well, because Stewart's done nothing all game as well. Tempted as well, actually. I think we may make the third change right now as well. Jake Walker's going to come on for Anakin at right back. Walker is a player that I like. I think he's underrated in the squad. I don't play him all that much because Anakin is better, but I think Walker's contribution is underrated, and he's had a lot of assists in the past. I trust him. I trust him to do well in today's game. So for the second half, hopefully these 3 changes, they'll all combine and score 3 goals between them, and then we'll win 3-2. Alternatively, nothing will happen at all for the rest of the game, and there'll be no highlights. As I say, that Southwell nearly puts it in the back of the net. So it's not, as the clock ticks down, it's not looking good for us, although a highlight right now could change things for us. The ball forward to Splat kind of works out because Ganiu collects it. Howell now on the ball. He's probably our best player this season, I think, so far, Howell. I think I may have said someone else is the best player this season for us, but no, Howell is the best player this season by far. That ball forward by McCabe was awful, but their clearance was also awful. Hall on the ball into Ganiu, into Howell. Howell out to Canwell, a great ball there. Canwell puts it into Bird at the back post. Cleared, but Bird does get the ball. He's tackled. Halifax coming forward. And this is what I'll talk about. This is going to be the gap in quality as Pike nearly puts it in the back of the net. Well, It's not been the result we wanted, but I don't think it's a result that everyone expected, I think. No one expected us to beat Halifax today. Even though I said we could have an upset today, I didn't really expect us to beat Halifax, and they showed it with their just superior quality, I think, overall on the pitch. This is the quality that we need if we want to be going up into their division. This is the quality that we need if we want to win promotion from the Vanarama National League North. It won't happen this season, I don't think. I don't think we're going to get near the playoffs, unfortunately. It'd be nice to, but I don't think we're going to. So we're going to have to put all our efforts into next season instead. So we've lost there in the third round, which, I mean, it's a good place to get to, the third round, I've got to say. Like, I'm happy that we've got that far. That's the first we've got in any competition. So I'm very happy with that. In terms of bad news, though, Max Brown has now not scored for 24 matches, which is, I mean, that is absolutely abysmal for a striker. He's not scored for 24 matches, apparently. That must include cup games as well and substitute appearances, because he's got 2 in 23 there. But that is poor, isn't it? Right, not long left in this season now, so we're going to have 2 more episodes before the season finishes. So next episode, we're going to do probably South Shields, I think, and Telford. Team sitting 19th and 9th in the tables. That should be quite a good episode. And then after that, we'll go straight to the end of the season with Brackley and Alfreton. So, not long to go now. We'll get this season out of the way, building a better team for next season, and fingers crossed, win promotion next season. So quite disappointing results today, not really what we wanted, but if you've enjoyed today's episode either way, please do drop a like on the video for me, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And I'll see you next time for some more Lincoln Loco.